Ah, yes, indeed. All right, all right. Greetings and welcome back once again. This is Amuna. I don't know. I pray everybody's doing well. All right, all right, all right. We are back in the building, back in the saddle, and ready to get into this Marcus and Amy saga. For those who just joined us, welcome to the conversation. And if you are new, artists, welcome to the conversation. Nice and early. And we have a whole playlist, okay, of what is going on with Marcus and Amy. So to bring us a little bit up to speed, as y'all know, I had to take a little downtime because they were doing too much. Greetings and welcome back once again, you guys. I am here. All praise be to the Creator. Let me see here. So, what has been happening? I hope you guys are doing well. And that is not just a greeting. I really do hope you are doing well, right? And we give thanks each and every day. Um, what has been happening with Marcus and Amy? We getting back into this book. A lot, a lot, a lot. Where are we now? And so things are not well. They're going back and forth in affidavits. She got caught out here creeping. And so now they're giving us a little bit of concern that Marcus had with the money situation. We already went over the $500. We looked up the house, all that nice, good stuff. So we are on page 60, and we're going to continue from there. Garvey may have had these rumors in mind when he charged that Amy regularly deposits large sums of money into a bank account and would not tell him where the funds came from. We know they weren't married. Good evening, Fever. Welcome to the conversation. We know they weren't married for that long. Nubian, greetings from London. Welcome to the conversation. So Marcus is telling it all, okay? He is not trying to save her at this moment. It says here, Amy responded that she never had a bank account, but then proceeded to explain in the same affidavit that the most money she ever deposited at any one time was $130, representing rent collections except for a deposit of $770 after the sale of her house. There were also accusations and denial that Amy had corruptly profited from the sale of the couple's furniture and $3,500 worth of wedding presents. Remember that big wedding? Remember them wedding presents, right? Jerry, welcome to the conversation. Queenie, welcome to the conversation. You remember them wedding presents? Marcus is like, she hocked them, okay? She got the money for the wedding presents. As in Jamaica earlier, Amy's family in New York participated in UNIA activity. Amy described a brother as purser of the Black Star Line's Yarmouth. Marcus saw them in a effete bunch and part of his problem with Amy. I wish to explain to the court, he swore, that the defendant and her family, although physically well, will not work, but are always disposed to loaf and attempt to live by their wits and shrewdness. He's starting early. Basically, he said, Amy walk less. She not have no behavior. They have an exaggerated idea of their own importance. And Marcus says so. An attempt to so impress everybody they meet. Amy was very much in the family mode, he thought, having lost her $20 a week job with his organization due to laziness and absentee. So he hired his jubby, according to Marcus. And the jubby was always late, not wanting to work, and she lost her little JO. Further than that, Marcus asserted, the defendant is foolishly extravagant and attempts to live beyond her means and craves expensive dresses every week and new hats and new shoes with every season and has no consideration of the cost of materials. I mean, we can say that according to the letter that we did hear, that she had a whole wish list. She acted like she was shopping on Temu like she was a millionaire. Okay. So Marcus is like, no, sir. And I'm not saying all August people, but sometimes August people, not all August people, but sometimes August people. He was like, no, sir, I try to spend off all of my money. I don't think so. Amy's, what is this? Penchant for spending money was well known. She would often spend on others and was very generous, but her generosity was matched by an equal facility for getting herself into debt. When Marcus's sister Indiana Pert arrived in New York, a Pert your name? Yeah. To join her brother's household in 1920, Amy greeted her at the pier with a gift of a mink coat. So Amy show off. They must say Amy chest high, like Claude. When I said, shine, girl, is that trouble to a man? Amy, I did shine. Oh gosh, Amy. Was that song for you? In the words of Indiana's daughter recounting the incident, Marcus nearly had a fit, quote unquote. Empress, greetings and welcome to the conversation, and ordered Amy to take the coat back to the store. Amy refused, arguing that Indy is your sister and she must look her very best. Amy I spend where she not have. From Amy Ashwood, so they are really opposite. Because Marcus out here in holy garment, okay? And Amy's like, no, sir, we have to show up and show out. Ah, boy. From Amy Ashwood's point of view, the most alarming element, which right me there, hold on there, back up. From Amy Ashwood's point of view, the most alarming element in the breakup of her marriage was the role of her best friend. Amy Jacques, best friend. One version of UNIA folklore, because you know this had to be all over the set. This had to be all over the organization. So it says one, which right me there? Folklore traceable to Ashwood has Jake's meeting and possibly introducing Marcus to Amy Ashwood back in Jamaica. According to this story, Jake's had little further contact with Marcus. She then supposedly immigrated to New York, nursing a broken heart after a failed romance. Amy Jacques categorically denied knowing Ashwood before meeting her in New York. That's interesting because in one of the letters, she mentions Jakes and Phillips. She mentions these two people. So Amy Jacques categorically denied knowing Ashwood before meeting her in New York. She remonstrated with an early Garvey biographer for making an unsubstantiated claim to this effect. In New York, the two Amy's shared an apartment. So under what was the pretext? If you ain't know her until you got to New York, where did you meet her and why did you share an apartment? Question. Ashwood later told Garvey's niece, Ruth Pert Prescott, that she had encouraged Amy Jacques to come up to New York. Here, as elsewhere, Ashwood's recollections do not stand up to historical scrutiny, for Jacques arrived in New York on April 27th, 1917, a full year and a half before Ashwood. Jacques' first job in New York, according to Ashwood's erratic and implausible recollection, was in a UNIA laundry. Why, Amy number one said the girl used to work at laundry. Make she talk. Hello, Mama Africa. How are you? Okay. A full year and a half. So here we go. Jake's first job in New York, according to Ashwood's erratic, implausible recollection, was in a UNIA laundry. She allegedly could not stand the cold and was able to obtain more congenial employment, first as a secretary in the UNIA office, and later, about December the 1st, 1919, as private secretary to Marcus Garvey himself. My girl said, moving on up to the east side to a deluxe apartment. How did she become his secretary? I thought this is before they got married. I thought there was already, I thought number one was already his secretary. It sound like you already can tell this I go left. Amy Ashwood later told her friends that it was she who obtained the two secretarial positions for Amy Jacques. And indeed, she wrote much later that she hired Jacques for the position as a private secretary in conjunction with Marcus. So as she put the woman in her place, you hire next woman. Figure sit on side of your man. Yeah, me number one. That no sound right. This time, Amy recollections are easily corroborated, for Marcus himself acknowledged under oath that Jacques got the job as his private secretary because of her friendship with Ashwood. So somewhere along the line between she comes in 1917, number one comes in 1918, somewhere along the line they become friends, and now we get a corroboration that she is the one who got her the job. So she put her replacement. Jacques not unnaturally later gave a different account of how she came to be Marcus's private secretary. She had engaged Marcus in conversation. She said after a UNIA meeting one evening, this led to a visit not too long after to his office. Well, so where you do? You shoot your shot, hear me too? What kind of thing this? There, Marcus complained of his difficulty in finding or securing honest employees and of his inability to keep up with his correspondence and other work due to his frequent absences from New York. She saw for herself how great the need was for some efficient office organization. Amy Jacques had experience as a legal secretary in Jamaica, and she offered her services to Marcus. Amy Ashwood married Marcus a mere 3.5 weeks after Amy Jacques assumed her position as private secretary. You know, listen good now, you know, because the storyline I go get twisty. In this capacity, Amy Jacques, who had been chief bridesmaid at the wedding, actually accompanied the newlyweds on their working honeymoon to Canada. This struck Marcus's sister Indiana as a little too much. Mia Indiana is right there because, where are we doing this at? Something. I'm not stress myself too early, make we continue. That was the first time, she remarked, that she had ever heard of a chief bridesmaid going along on the honeymoon with the bride. Yet Amy Ashwood evidently did not mind, for she continued to provide her friend with lodging in her apartment with herself and Marcus after the wedding. And as late as February 14, 1920, the two Amys both attended a Black Star Line directors meeting, Ashwood in her capacity as director and Jacques taking minutes in place of the line's absent secretary and assistant secretary. In retrospect, we're glad to say we are look back now. Amy Ashwood thought she saw clear evidence of Garvey's partiality towards her companion and trusted friend. How much of a trusted friend? You just meet her. If I can't tell you, you never know her. Or she never know you. The moment her husband moved into the flat the two women shared at 552 Lenox Avenue, a manifest and most brazenly flaunted Intimacy quickly developed between Marcus and Jakes, according to Amy's testimony. So you move the woman in your house, move the man, take the woman, on vacation. No, 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 no. Honeymoon. The one where you did a smuggling the liquor. And when you come back home, she did it too. You must see a teacher how to take your place. Well, it goes on to say, to be more specific, said Amy Ashwood, in the instances where domestic differences arose as to the conduct of the household, in fact, where any difference arose on any matter pertaining to any question involving the said Amy Jacques, Marcus invariably took the side of and displayed his sympathies with the said Amy Jacques instead of his wife. Sharon, welcome to the conversation. I'm just reading, y'all. Uh but even worse than that, Marcus was wont to take the side of Amy Jacques to the opera, theater, and diverse other places of amusement as well. And on occasion, when the said Amy Jacques became ill and necessarily confined to her bed during Amy Ashwood's absence at work, Marcus would clandestinely return to his apartment and administer to her ailments like a nurse, in applying hot water bags and giving medicine to the said Amy Jacques. Yo, son. Bless your name. What in all of creation, man? Despite these recollections of June 1921, Amy Ashwood still contradictorily claimed in August of 1920 not to have suspected any mutual attraction between Marcus and Amy Jacques as late as April 1920. That was when Ashwood and Jacques quarreled. She said, causing Jacques to leave the apartment. Marcus became incensed. Watch her. So why you never married Jacques? She did daddy. She was a secretary. She sit on with you. Why you never married her? Why did you? They were doing poly. They were doing what Judy Moore was describing. But no, because Marcus moving. First of all, Marcus, why did you move into Amy's apartment? Just so many things that don't add up. It just don't add up. But make a continue. Marcus became incensed at this turn of affairs and immediately packed up his personal belongings and also moved away. Right? Marcus gone after Amy. Marcus gone after Amy number 2. Amy Ashwood was pregnant at the time, though as we now know, apparently with someone else's child, and with Marcus not yet aware of her condition. And despite the argument, she still felt very near and dear to the said Amy Jacques. Furthermore, she had not the slightest suspicion that any improper relations existed between Marcus and the said Amy Jacques. She playing games right now, son. She playing games. So she persuaded Jacques to return to her apartment, whereupon Marcus followed suit a day or so later. What is going on? We should bring in our matey. Garvey quickly arrived at a crucial crossroad in his marital life. Here he was, confronted with the question of two Amy's. Remember, I told you I looked up Napoleon. He had two Marias, okay? An army now has two army. Marcus has two Amy's, both Jamaican, each the other's best friend, both beautiful and talented. One the bride of his marriage, the other chief bridesmaid. Right? This sounds like a Nigerian movie. This sounds like a Nollywood plot. It sounds like me if we go start a new book. No, man, this sounds like a Nollywood plot. What do you think? One of his wife, the other his private secretary. And as a veteran Garveyite was careful to point out, both Capricorns. One born December and one born January. So he manifested the same energy. because he needs someone that's going to be helping him to push all of these fanciful ideas he has. He needs somebody to organize and help him push it forward, right? The story of this eternal triangle in time became part of the folklore of several communities where the UNIA flourished. Exactly, artists are what kind of mix up? This is a more than mix up. This is mix up and blend, blend. Mercy. Hello, Mama Africa. Amy Jacques got the better of the exchanges, but among Amy Ashwood's partisans, a fiercely loyal minority, Jakes was still seen 60 years later as the villain of the piece. Imagine who is on whose side. Me not tell you, say, yeah, me number two come thief out the woman, man. My goodness, what a precke. It says here, uh, Amy Jacques is clearly credited with two actions which together checkmated Ashwood once and for all. The first involved a letter which, oh dang, did she snake her? Hold on. The first involved a letter which Alan Cumberbatch wrote to Amy Ashwood after her departure from Panama. Amy Jacques is said to have discovered this compromising letter and shown it to Marcus. She did want the man. 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 Me think she did want the man, because all of this is quite inappropriate if you didn't want the man. Because what are you doing? I'm not saying number one is right, but you moving like you trying to position yourself because you want the man. So number one, where did I do? Dig up your woman sitting them? Because where was the letter? Dear Amy number one, the letter just skin up on the bed. It just did cock up on the bed. Are you gonna dig feet? Amy Jacques is said to have discovered this compromising letter and show it to Marcus, who made it the basis for his divorce suit claim that Amy Ashwood had broken her promise to sever her relationship with Cumberbatch. Cumberbatch claimed that the letter was undated and written before marriage. Amy Jacques and Marcus claimed that it was written after the marriage. And who brought the letter? She mysteriously found the letter like down in her grip on the side in the corner underneath her kerchief. The second incident is said to have involved an adulterous rendezvous with Amy Ashwood set up with a male friend. Now, at that, she should have been getting in trouble for. Ashwood told Jacques in confidence. Sorry. About the impending meeting, and Jacques tipped off Garvey. She wanted the man. She did want him. Who, the story goes, burst into the room, closely followed by Jacques. So wait a minute. Jacques, this is grimy kind of behavior though, Jacques. Because why are you posing as the woman friend? Just come out as our enemy. Why are you posing as the friend and doing all of this type of stuff? Amy Ashwood and her friend were seated on a couch, though not in a compromising position, according to Ashwood's version of this story. Nevertheless, the mere presence of this sometime paramour was enough to cause irreparable harm to her relationship with Marcus. They said the letter of date. Yeah, she appeared double agent, and it don't make no sense. Just come out and so the woman can know, because clearly if she doing all of this with all of these people, she don't want him either. So maybe you could have just had a conversation like, yo, why are you treating Marcus like this? I think he's a real good dude. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. But when you stood up there, that means the whole time you were standing up there in the bridal party, you were scheming, because it was only 3.5 weeks since you became his secretary till you went on a honeymoon. And Jacques, how did you think it was appropriate to go on their honeymoon? Like, there's just too much stuff that don't make no sense. According to some UNIA folklore, I heard it to the grapevine, Amy's offended male companion on this occasion was Trinidadian Sam Manning. Amy is said to have gotten him a job in the UNIA musical department. Rumor even had it that Amy's motivation in purloining UNIA monies was to set Manning up in the theatrical business. Sam would eventually become the most durable fixture in Amy's life as a traveling companion, artistic collaborator, and lover. Sam did I travel with you? I mean, hold on, let me see something. Hold on. Let me see. What? Sam turn long time Juby? Hold on. Whenever I do too much. Oh, he was a calypso singer. A Trinidadian calypso singer who was one of the world's pioneering black recording artists. Hold on. That's curious. Okay. Calypso's first international superstar. You learn something new every day. Okay. All right. Let me get back to work. There are many people in business. Let me get back to work. Wait, I look for Sam. But then I said, let me get back to work. But I try to see Sam. Hold on there. A Sam this? Me no want to say a Sam and a Sam. Me say one recording. So I want she the one music man. Sam is one of the leading recording artists out of Trinidad. Okay, let me get back to work now. But now go show Sam because I want to confirm say him. Jerry said, all wicked. No, but she was already found out. The only thing that I can't rate for number 2 is that she shouldn't have been hiding her stick and lick a bush. She should have been let it be known, fam. Because it's not that you wanted it for the good of the man or that you was trying to set your son straight. You had your ulterior motives for doing what you were doing, which is grimy. Don't move grimy. Come out and say what it is. You know what I mean? Don't you dare going on to people them honeymoon doing all of this and you already know what your objective is. Say what it is. I mean, Amy number 1 is wrong. She's all the way wrong all day, all night. But Amy number 2, when she's playing 2 sides, you should have just said what it was. That's kind of schemy because the way it come is the way it go. You understand me? I say, and that's what me I say. But let's continue. All right. Let's start with that. Ellis Island immigration records have preserved the ship's manifest from SS Van Dyck, which arrived in New York from Barbados on June the 12th, 1923. The lone Trinidadian-born passenger among the mostly Barbadians who embarked in Bridgetown was 27-year-old Lawrence Sam, official name, Manning. He was 5 feet, 5 inches. She like shot, man, because wasn't Marcus that small too? Dark complexion and gave his occupation as vaudeville comedian. He planned to stay with his friend George Hines in Brooklyn, New York. He had previously lived in New York from 1910 to 1912. Most surprisingly, for reasons that will become apparent later in this narrative, he left behind as his closest relative a wife, Josephine Manning of Nelson Street, Bridgetown. So it's about to, they said apparently it's about to get important that this Sam Manning that later travels with Amy 1 did married. Yep. Yep. Meanwhile, with the break between Amy Ashwood and Marcus concretized by later movement to a new apartment, Amy Jacques steadily and systematically looked over the various roles that Amy Ashwood had formerly played in Marcus's private and organizational lives. Jacques was already Marcus's private secretary, a post that Ashwood had formerly held. About March 1920, Jacques began accompanying Marcus on regular business. This amounted to little, Marcus explained in September 1920, since he traveled in a party of several people and accommodations for the sexes were always separate. Thank you, Fever. You guys comment in, like, and subscribe, and share the video. Let's continue to learn and grow from history. Anti-Garvey elements, nevertheless, now maliciously urged the Department of State to prosecute Garvey under the Man-White Slavery Act, which prohibited the transportation of women across state lines for immoral purposes. Interestingly enough, similar suggestions had been made to the Department of Justice in 1919 when Amy Ashwood regularly accompanied Marcus across state lines. So they're saying they tried to use the fact that he was traveling with his secretary to say that he was smuggling women across state lines. FBI files provide a fascinating look at one deadly serious, though almost comic, attempt to frame Garvey with a violation of the Mann Act. In December 1921, Garvey and his entourage, including Amy Jacques, visited Washington, D.C. One Morris A. Joyce, apparently a white secret police officer, hired a colored undercover informant, because you always have one that's willing to do the job, to gather evidence to manufacture a white slave traffic case against Garvey. They was doing too much. It's not funny. Garvey and Jake stayed at the White Law Apartments on 13th Street, and the colored stool pigeon was assigned to watch their rooms all night. This he dutifully did. Jakes and Garvey occupied separate apartments across the hall from each other, he reported. Neither visited the other's room between 8:15 and 4 a.m. Maybe the colored, there was no indication as to why the colored operative ended his surveillance so early. Maybe he had to go to the bathroom, I don't know. So theatrically, leaving Garvey refreshed by a good night's sleep, plenty of time to tiptoe into Jake's room before breakfast. Maybe the colored spy fell asleep, or maybe he was a double agent looking out for Garvey's interests, or perhaps the arrival of an early dawn robbed him of an unobtrusive hiding place. So right now, Garvey's doing a smooth transition from Amy 1 to Amy 2. Like one of them shows where in season 1, like Fresh Prince, the first few seasons, the Aunt Viv was this person. And then all of a sudden when you came back, Aunt Viv was another person, but it was the same name. That's what he was doing. He had a wardrobe change. In Harlem, meanwhile, Jakes moved with Marcus to his new flat. No, man, Jakes prime. Sorry, I need some water. Jakes is prime. Mm-mm, 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 mm-mm. This is too prime for me. In Harlem, meanwhile, Jakes moved with Marcus to his new flat. Just before his break with Ashwood, Jakes said Marcus informed Miss Henrietta Vinton Davis, a high-ranking UNIA official, and herself of the impending separation. He told them that his work came first and he needed peace of mind to effectively manage his affairs. In his position, he did not have much time, as a normal husband did, to devote to his wife and family, and that the last thing he needed was a wife who would be a constant source of embarrassment and worry. What are we in my talk to everybody else except for this man you're supposed to talk to? My wife, he told Jakes and Miss Davis, can either be wrecked because of her conduct or embellished by her deportment. He thereupon offered a room in his new apartment to Jakes and Miss Davis. That's weird, Garvey. Why are you, okay. What is this, Three's Company? They accepted his offer and shared the room between them because, in Jake's words, we would be better protected at nights coming from meetings. In turn, it turned out that protection was needed primarily for Amy Ashwood. Garvey said he undertook to walk Jakes to and from the office when Ashwood threatened to whop up them both. Whoa, Ashwood. Ashwood saw it somewhat differently. Jakes traveled all over the U.S. and Canada with Garvey, she complained. She lived in Garvey's apartment and appears daily on the streets, locked arms with him, the two being attending always by a bodyguard of 2 or 3 men. Hey, yo. In response to Ashwood's efforts to deduce something sinister from Jake's residence in his apartment, Garvey explained that the apartment had 8 rooms. His sister Indiana Pert and her husband were in charge. There was no connection between his room and Amy Jake's, and in any event, There were other residents in the apartment besides the Perts, Jakes, and himself. Ain't no easy. It might also be mentioned that Garvey and Amy Ashwood's seemingly crowded living arrangements were far from unusual for Harlem. Garvey's 8-room and multi-tenanted apartment would have been very large and far from overcrowded in an era where Harlem landlords lived in hallways and threw rent parties to pay the bills. Sam Manning himself later describes the reality of Harlem life. Garvey's marital problems would have been enough to monopolize the attention and sap the stamina of any normal person. See, I thought it was me. It is. It's enough to monopolize it and sap you up. Greetings, boy, and welcome to the conversation. I felt sapped after this because it's like, bro, when do y'all stop? Yet the events of 1920, including his suit for annulment and divorce, came at the time of amazing accomplishment and severe stress. The Universal Negro Improvement Association was in a phase of explosive growth, with branches appearing around the world. So rapid was the spread of branches that headquarters in Harlem struggled to keep up with its own mushrooming creation. They say, be careful what you ask for, ain't it? So just to recap, for those who just joined us, a lot have gone on, and Amy too is slowly making her way in as Amy 1 is being pushed to the outskirts, okay? The Black Star Line Steamship Corporation had likewise caught the imagination of African people everywhere. The line's first ship, the Yarmouth, also known as Frederick Douglass in the UNIA circles, was officially launched on October the 31st, 1919. By May 1920, as Garvey was receiving Ashwood's mea culpa recording, his non-paternity of one of her aborted babies, the line was reporting offices in New York, Cuba, British Guiana, Haiti, Jamaica, Panama, Costa Rica, Nigeria, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and 15 states in the United States, in the U.S. Opposition to Garvey and his movement were also becoming overwhelming. The surveillance and harassment by U.S. authorities was supplemented by hostility from European governments, the Communist, international, and non-governmental groupings of various kinds. Garvey was also frequently on the road, for he was the UNIA's chief attraction and its best organizer and fundraiser. So what a time to be alive during this Harlem Renaissance situation. Garvey is in the thick of it, and he would have been like, who was a scandalous person who had scandals all around with it, like one of these stars that you see today, one of these famous people. He would have been like that person. Like stuff is always going on in the news with him, right? That's interesting because you don't really think about Garvey and scandals of this nature to the work that he was doing, but it would have very much been in the paper and sussed about all throughout the organization and the general populace. I'm gonna just read a little more and then I open up the mic. Let me see where we are here. Hold on. All right, we're gonna read a little more. We have 40 minutes. It says here, as if all of this was not enough, Garvey's marital problems came during the run-up to one of the most important conventions in African American history. Trouble never set like rain. The UNIA's first international convention of Negro peoples of the world. The opening night on August the 1st brought out a Pan-African crowd of 25,000. They filled New York's Madison Square Garden to overflowing. Delegates met for their entire month of August, with the remaining sessions in harmony. So say Marcus Gladbach boss, From him I lead the people them round in a Saint Anne, and I teach them new word. From him go on the ship over Europe. From him come back and start stir up the people them. This is the height. This is the pinnacle. In Gladbach boss, no, Garvey was working long hours in preparation for his convention, and as his relationship with Amy unraveled, the need for a less stressful domestic environment became one more incentive to leave the matrimonial home. our residence. Amy charged that he often stayed out all night long, all night. And as far as she was concerned, this was for the purpose of consorting with unknown women. I think that might have been projection, Amy. You was consorting, but okay. This was for the purpose of, okay, thereby including in her a state of nervous procrastination. Debbie, welcome to the conversation. Debbie calling in all the way from London. Shout out to you. After the wedding, she said, Garvey kept his bachelor's furnished room at 238 West 131st Street. She apparently had a key to his room, for when Marcus did not show up at home, she said she would go out to the furnished room, even falling asleep and when man them the Amy, know you have time to go look for Garvey. Y'all a mess. She went to his room and dropped asleep. Me, I go still on right, yes. Like the Nigerians like to say, you will come and meet me. You will meet me. She was over there setting up for old boy, even falling asleep and spending the entire night in a vain effort to locate her husband. Have you seen him? Tell me, have you seen him? Ooh, she was over there singing old school songs. Have you seen her boo? And keep in mind, this is not funny, but they're not married. They're not married 6 months good, okay? In March and April 1920, she visited all the rooming houses and hotels in Harlem looking for her spouse. This lets me know that the fact that 6.5 weeks after they marry, he's ready to divorce, the Amy number 2 was already working on him. Because maybe he felt compelled because, he wanted to fulfill the Napoleon story and they already promised one another they was going to be together. But old girl seems to already been working on him because he was like, oh yeah, ooh, you tell me say you're going to stop drink and you never drink. It done. You already had somebody else in your ear. So I don't even know why y'all got married. All the rooming houses. She says that in March and April of 1920, she visited all the rooming houses and hotels in Harlem, all of them, Amy, looking for her spouse. Have you seen him? Tell me, have you seen him? Marcus admitting to sleeping out twice. Once he stayed in his office. On the other occasion, he rented a furnished room. He came home late from the office one night to find his wife drunk and confrontational. She ready for fight. She ready for fight. Yeah, me. Having the preparation of an international convention on my hands, he pleaded, it was necessary for me to remain in the office until 8 o'clock in the night. He said, "Nah, go on, because she crazy." In early September 1920, Amy's lawyers, Marshall Garrett Wheaton of 2295 7th Avenue, New York, challenged the legality of Garvey's suit in a brief of demurrer, arguing that the suit had been improperly brought. The complaint here is demurrable, they argued, in that it joins an action for an annulment of marriage predicated upon the assumption that there never was a marriage, with an action for divorce, which admits a marriage. Too inconsistent. Did Marcus do his own paperwork? He good for that. They're like, oh, what kind of thing this? First you say it now. But that's also what Napoleon did. He married a civil marriage. For the longest time, he was married to Marie, and then Josephine, and then he wanted to be crowned emperor, but he wasn't married through the Pope. And so according to the narrative, he gets married through the Pope and then crowns her empress. But then later on, he applies for an annulment to say it wasn't valid. So he's taking a page out of his book. This is why it's confusing, because he was trying to do his own paperwork. Marcus looked like he was trying to shop the line on this one, but we're going to continue. Two inconsistent actions, they suggested, could not be commingled in the same complaint. Which one is it? Did you or did you not marry her? Is she is or is she ain't your baby? Y'all remember? That's an old cartoon. I tell my Jerry, is she is or is she ain't your baby? Garvey's attorney was still Wilford H. Smith of 205th West 35th Street, Harlem. Sometime Counsel General of the UNIA and former attorney to Booker T. Washington. Ashwood and her attorney, how Ashwood got money for an attorney, described Smith as the oldest member of his race at the bar and a most eminent and learned attorney. Nipsey, welcome to the conversation. Welcome. Yeah, enough things are going with them. Enough things. It says, Smith argued that the annulment and divorce suits could be joined under state law and practice, and that joining them accorded with common sense. On October the 21st, 1920, the court found in favor of Amy. And on November the 5th, 1920, Smith submitted an amended complaint requesting annulment only. Annulment has to be within a year, I think, 6 months to a year, depending on where you are. With Garvey now forced to retreat and regroup, Amy opened a second front in their legal battle. She requested $75 a week in alimony. Remember, according to Garvey, she was getting paid $20 a week to be secretary, and she wasn't even coming to work. She was like, pay me. So she wanted, and I believe this is what I saw in the Gleaner. We may stop and look at that Gleaner article. But let's read. So Amy's like, she wants $75. How much is $75 in 1919? $75 in 1919 today. Hold on there. $75 is equivalent to the purchase of power of $1,359 today. Round that up to $1,359. So Holmesy wanted $1,300 a week. Help us all. A week. Yo, you mean easy about side. Amy be wildin'. 4. How much is 3, 6, 9, 12? 4, 5. Over $5,000. God, look, let me just do this. 7, 5. That's $150 for the month. No, not $150. $300 for the month. Let's just do this. Yeah, $5,000. Amy wanted $5,381.38 according to inflation. She wanted that money. Amy wanted $5,381 a month. Hey, I've said it. And it not done. She wanted $5,000 in counsel fees during the pendency of this action. So $5,000 then is not $5,000. So she wanted, hold on there, 5381. She wanted this for the month. Amy, you was married for like 6.5 weeks. And he was in your apartment, bruh. You might end up paying him money. What's really good, Amy? And then she wanted $5,000 for lawyer fees, which today equals purchasing power of $90,000 in lawyer fee. Amy, no man, Amy, you are chopping the line, bro. He ain't lying on this. She wanted... Her husband, she said, was the president general and undisputed dictator, quote unquote, of the UNIA and provisional president of Africa. He did name himself provisional president of Africa. You know why she's doing this too? Because she knows the books, because she knows behind the scenes, because she was over the Black Star Line and she really knows what's coming in. So she says that he was the provisional president of Africa with a salary of $20,020 per annum, exclusive of expenses. So she trying to put the people onto him, saying homie is making the equivalent of, y'all know I'm just going, the equivalent of $357,000 in today's time. a year. $250,000. Yeah, she never want all. She didn't want all the money. She never want all the money. She did want all the money. Yes, all the money. She told the people that Gary make $250,000 a year, and so this little chump change, this little chicken feed, this little peanut where she asked for. If you stop going like him, not have it. Leg of that man, Garvey man. Where you going, sir? You're the provisional president of Africa, you know, friend. You think say this little monkey money you can't give me? Yo, in a word, he had unlimited finance at his disposal. Amy, by contrast, was too weak to work and was solely dependent on the charity of her friends. Still, she said, she was the wife of the professed leader of the Negro race. She being petty. She being petty right now. Like all of his extra, because she's also behind the scenes. She sees the extravagant, I mean, all of his, what's the word? Not his excessive in material things, but all of his claims, all of his fanciful ideologies, and so she's literally turning it back on him, which is a little petty, you know what I mean, but accurate, because this is what you proclaimed. You had millions of people come, and you had this big wedding, and you had all this stuff. So you know, must have money. You got to tell everybody, say you the provisional president of Africa, bro. You have to have money. So she's kind of like, to me, it's like she being petty and she's throwing it. But now, why yourself you got ask Cumberbatch? It says Amy was too weak to work and was solely dependent on the charity of her friends. Still, she said she was the wife of the professed leader of the Negro race and had to maintain a certain lifestyle. Amy said, "Can you pay my bills? Can you pay my telephone bills?" Amy wanted them to pay. The UNIA August 1920 convention, Amy continued, brought delegates from around the world. There were now 3 million members, representing the largest known organization of Negroes in the history of the world. An assessment of $1 per. She account money, She said, wait, a 3 million Negro you have, and if each Negro they give me $1, just $1, me not ask for too much. Of course, he can't pay me. As an assessment of $1 per member was levied at the convention, enabling the organizers to pay massive salaries. The UNIA had a payroll of $15,000 a month. That's why I said she'll do this, because Amy know the books. Garvey himself had bought $5,000 worth of furniture and pledged $1,000 for the UNIA Librarian Liberty Loan. In June of 1920, he had leased his 8-room apartment at 133rd West 129th for $90 a month. And that's a lot in that time. So she was like, not bother with it. You left here, you go lease apartment, you tell we say you don't have no money, and you have money. $90 a month is $1,624 in today's time. So he's paying some money. She keep talking about this apartment. Let's look it up, shall we? Where is apartment at, Garvey? Where is this apartment? So, and he's renting out rooms, 131. So he's trying to recoup. He's paying almost $1,600. That's today's prices. That is today's prices. West, which apartment thing done? West 129th Street. Harlem. I said 133. I'm coming, everybody. Let me just see what Garvey was over there doing. So he had money for what he wanted to have money for. That's what I'm getting. And that he didn't appreciate the way she was spending the money So she wasn't getting none. Yeah, 133 West 129th. I don't see that. I see 13. Okay, I'm not going to get it. I see 132 West 29th. Let me see here. It looks like a walk up, or it's next to a walk up. Yeah, it's not showing me that particular one, but it does look like the one next door is like a 3-story walk up. So we're going to continue. So Garvey he had what he had for what he wanted, basically. All right, let's continue here. Where are we? So he was spending about 16 plus a month on that eight room situation. Garvey replied that his salary was a modest $25 a week. Remember, what did Amy want? Amy wanted $75 a week. Garvey is saying he only makes $25 a week, which would be $476 in today's time. But he also said that Amy made $25 a week. That's curious. You were making the same amount as the secretary, Garvey? I don't know about that. But we never did it. So it says here, a judge in September 1920 awarded Amy $12 a week alimony for the time being and $250 in counsel fees. She wanted $5,000 in counsel fees, and he gave her $250, and he only gave her $12 a week in alimony. And it says the latter, the counsel fees, payable in installments, and both subject to the findings of a referee on Garvey's financial sufficiency. Amy now looked to her father for help in persecuting her lawsuits against Garvey. Merciful Father. Garvey must have said, what me do? What have I done to deserve this? Now she got him going in court. It says Michael Delbert Ashwood, now back in Jamaica, rushed to his daughter's assistance by the fastest means available as a stowaway on one of Garvey's Black Star Line ships. Yo, we can't take it. We can't take it. Yo, did it just say that Amy's father would put himself as a stowaway on the ship so he could get to his daughter who's just doing the most? Garvey apprised Amy of this halfway through his convention. This is to inform you, he said in a handwritten note, that your father is held as a stowaway on one of our boats. And as soon as the boats get here, will be turned over to the immigration authorities. They playing dirty. It's not funny. Yo, did he tell her that, we about to hand your pops over to ICE? Because he's a stowaway on our ships. The level of petty. Hold on. The level. He's pissed. Hold on. Something I look for. It's not funny. So it says here, the U.S. immigration authorities locked up Mr. Ashwood for 6 weeks on Ellis Island. So the man said, this is not a threat. This is a promise. Your papa got jail. Yo, this is madness. This is madness. It goes on to say, Amy's lawyers eventually obtained his release with the help of contacts in the Department of Labor and the intervention of Congressman J.F. Donovan. The Boston Chronicle could not resist the satirical possibilities presented by this story. It accordingly explained that Mr. Ashwood answering an SOS call from his daughter, Amy, seemed to have availed himself of the first opportunity to leave Jamaica from New York. For all accounts, he boarded the first steamer he could get from Jamaica, but failed to fulfill shipping regulations and was held as a stowaway. He will probably play a big role in the pending divorce suit of the, quote, president and, quote, empress of Africa. I'm going to pause right there. Because this is too much. That man, them not get on bad. This is the puppy show. The people addicted to all of this from long time. Because check out the madness. Check out the madness. I'm trying to find the this is crazy. Let me put the link in the box. Let me know if you have anything to share. Merciful Father, they are not slowing down. He made the father get locked up. He didn't have to do that, did he? Mm-hmm. I put the link in the box. Okay, here are. I'm trying to see if this is. All of this stuff actually made it in the papers. I'm trying to see if this is the one. Yeah, here's one of them. So I think more is his ego that she's carrying his name abroad while he's doing this, that making him. This is a Gleaner article from 1920 September. And it says here, Marcus Garvey wants divorced wife. New York, August 28th, Mr. Marcus Garvey has filed suit for divorce in Supreme Court of New York. He states that his wife Amy deceived him by representing that she never drank. He further states she told him she had severed all relationships with one Alan Cumberbatch. This is in the paper. Of Panama City. Mr. Garvey says that since his marriage, he has learned that the defendant habitually indulged in drinking and was in correspondence and communication with Cumberbatch. In his actions for divorce, he accuses her of misconduct with an unknown man. They were married last December. See there? So all the stuff that we just read, not only was it in the divorce proceedings, see the Gleaner, not only was it in the divorce proceedings, it was also picked up by the paper. Let me see here. There's one more paper article for that year when she's trying to get the money from him. And he's saying, I think it's the next year. He's saying that he doesn't have the money. Ay, ay, ay. Hello, Mama Africa. Oh, no, not between. If anybody has anything to share, feel free to do so. I am going to wind down after this. And definitely, there's enough juice. This is a juicy lime here. As you squeeze it, more and more juice come out. So don't worry if you've missed anything. Hold on one second. I'm trying to see where she's the same thing we just read, and she's in the paper. Yeah, here it is. All right, we have one more thing. All right. This was March the 4th, 1921. Salary of Mr. Garvey. See the Gleaner? Okay, so March 4, 1921. It was a Friday. Salary of Mr. Garvey. Wife suing for divorce declares him unable to pay $70, $75 per week, $180,000 a year. My girl said she wants $180,000 a year. At present time, Mrs. Garvey receives $12 per week from her husband. And we just read that, right? That's what they gave her. New York, February 17th, the salary of Marcus Garvey as head of the UNIA association in the Black Star line of steamers is $15,000 per month or $180 per year, according to the wife, Amy Garvey. At present time, Ms. Garvey is receiving $12 a week under a Supreme Court order based on Garvey's sworn statement November the 3rd last, where that says that he was receiving a salary of $25 a week. Garvey says all right, I'm back. Thank you for waiting. I'm there talking and reading because I'm on the other screen. And the next thing I know, the the internet is acting crazy, so I'm going to go ahead and wind down today. I'll put the link in the box so that you can continue to follow this here story. We are reading from it's the internet. Sometime when the rain I go set up, which it's doing right now, uh it act crazy. So this is the book I'm reading from. It is up on the screen. The link is in the box. No, yes, I think I shared where I got it from. It's not available on Amazon, but they do have some specialty stores where you can find it. So with that said, we will come back because this story does not seem like the fire is blazing and Marcus is being petty. Amy is being petty. It's all over the news. It's all in the papers. All their business is on Front Street. She's like, you got it. You the provisional president of all of Africa. We know you got money. Like that was petty. The sarcasm. The sarcasm. Wow. For those who have just joined us, welcome. I pray everybody has a blessed day. If you would like to continue to support the channel, you could do so by one of the many things. You'd be like, Amuna, how much thing you do? Just a very artistic person, entrepreneurial. So we have something for just about everybody, right? So if you have the books, don't forget to leave your reviews on Amazon so more people can find the books. If you like the head wraps and the shirts and thing, go over to Etsy. And if you just want support, you can do that too. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, all of which is free. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and we're going to see you again tomorrow. Did I give everybody an opportunity? I think I did. But internet a bug out. I'm in a 2-1, you get cut off. So just let me know in the description below, and we will pick up on the other side of this conversation. Have a blessed day, everyone. We're going to boogie out with a commercial. Thank you. It's watermelons. It's water. Y'all see it close? Hold on there. It's this one is watermelons for summertime. You know, a cute little thing. I'm trying to find this thing real quick. Do. All right, everybody. I'm running this commercial. Have a blessed day. Island Twist follows Jackie Brown, a young girl who finds herself head over heels for the new island boy at school in fresh outer yard, and Jackie has the fever. But as she navigates the ups and downs of her new crush, things quickly spiral out of control when her not so secret admirer becomes determined to sabotage her relationship. So check out the new novel, Island Twist, over on Amazon today. Now back to the story. Listener, all of this jokes and reading got me feeling a little hungry. Do you guys come with your snacks ready, or do you think it's time for an ital food break? The Russ and him Empress say, yeah, ital food break. So listener, this is Imuna, and not only do I read and write novels, I also do a little something something. Well, a kind of big something in the kitchen, right? So I wrote this amazing Hey Pumpkin cookbook. Inside, pumpkin seed milk, carrot punch smoothie, listener, even jerk tofu strips. But the tofu is made from pumpkin seeds. So join me on a culinary adventure with the pumpkin seed as we explore the benefits of this green superfood. You already know potassium, zinc, it is loaded and highly beneficial. Again, a high source of iron, zinc, magnesium, vitamin E, and it helps boost the immune system. This book, as well as Island Twist, is available on Amazon today. So go on over and let's get back to the story.